You're about to learn the most misunderstood move in modern dating. The kind of move that looks like nothing from the outside, yet rearranges the internal power of a connection from the ground up. Men argue about it in group chats. Women test it without naming it. Coaches dress it up with rules and timers and formulas. But here's the raw truth. Silence is not empty. Silence is a mirror. When you go zero contact, you don't just stop talking. You force the dynamic to show you what's real. If you've been chasing, it shows you whether she steps forward on her own feet. If you've been over-available, it shows you what your absence is actually worth. And if you've been acting out of fear, it shows you whether you're still a boy who begs or a man who chooses. If what you've heard so far is shifting how you see yourself, stay with me until the end, because we're just getting started. Zero contact is not ghosting. It's not the silent treatment. It's not a tantrum. It's a boundary. It means no texts, no calls, no accidental likes, no late-night replies to her stories, no asking mutual friends for updates, and no, "I just wanted to check on you" messages that pretend to be noble. It's the removal of your attention as a stimulant. Why does that matter? Because attention is a drug. When she's used to the steady drip of your availability, a pause feels like a power cut. Quiet, disorienting, and suddenly very revealing. Anxiety rises. Questions multiply. The brain seeks pattern completion. That's the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished interactions pull attention. Scarcity is triggered. What's not available becomes valuable. And reactance, the natural pushback when someone's freedom to access you changes, wakes up. That cocktail alone can flip a dynamic, but only when you execute it with clean intent. If you use silence to punish, she'll smell it and harden. If you use silence to heal, recalibrate, and reclaim your frame, she'll feel the difference in your energy the next time she sees you. So do the zero contact rules really work? The honest answer is, they work when there's something still burning under the ash. They work when attraction existed, respect was wounded, boundaries were blurred, and your energy had become predictable. They work when your silence is anchored to a mission, not a sulk. They don't work when there was no desire to begin with, when you were just background noise in her world, when you broke trust in a way that safety cannot ignore, or when she's deeply avoidant and sees your withdrawal as relief rather than loss. They don't work when you secretly maintain a tether, breadcrumbing, checking, peeking, or sending a mutual friend as your courier pigeon. Zero contact only means something if the zero is true. Anything less is diet discipline. Your energy knows. Her nervous system knows. Before we step into the how, you need the why under your skin. A woman does not fall for a man because he floods her phone. She falls because his presence shifts her state. Sometimes that shift comes from polarity. Masculine certainty meeting feminine emotion with grounded leadership. Sometimes it's novelty. She can't predict you, so her curiosity stays open. Sometimes it's pre-selection. Women see that other women respond to you, and their radar recalibrates your value before you speak. And sometimes it's simply that your attention is earned, not sprayed. Zero contact reintroduces all of that in one stroke. It restores your edge. It resets novelty. It ends her prediction model. And it forces her to face the felt reality of your absence. That's the point. Not to be clever. Not to make her chase. To return the dynamic to honest pressure where both people's choices become visible. Context matters. Early dating? Zero contact is used when she's inconsistent, breadcrumbing you with heart emojis and nothing more, or when you overinvested fast and watched her temperature drop. Relationship recovering from conflict? Zero contact is used when conversations have become circular, when your words have lost weight, and when you need to remove stimulus so emotional dust can settle. Post-breakup? Zero contact is used to reassert self-possession, to detox from withdrawal, and to test whether the tie is real or just habit. If there are shared responsibilities, children, lease, work, then we're not talking pure zero contact. We're talking limited contact, only logistics, only in writing, only short, only necessary, no emotional fishing, no nostalgia, no remember when. You're a man with a standard, not a man playing hide and seek. Here's what men get wrong. They think zero contact is something you do to her. It's something you do for you. If you make her the point, you'll break it the moment your anxiety spikes. If you make your center the point, you'll discover your anxiety dissolves into focus. So we begin with the decision. Take a breath. Say this to yourself and mean it. For the next phase, my attention goes where it's respected, reciprocated, and useful. I will not soothe my nervous system with cheap contact. I will not try to control her perception. I will let reality measure itself. And while the measurement happens, I will build. Day 0 starts with digital discipline, silent notifications, hide her stories, mute the chat, archive the thread, maybe even temporarily remove the app if you know your reflexes too well. You are not above the pull, you're designing around it. Next, environmental hygiene. If your apartment is a museum of her, box the reminders. If your evenings are empty, fill them with pain you chose. Sweat, iron, sunlight. Anxiety is fuel with nowhere to burn. Give it a furnace. Your body, your craft, your mission. Your phone stays boring. Your life gets loud. This is not performance. This is needle-moving work. If your days are aimless, she'll feel your silence as a pose. If your days are driven, she'll feel your silence as gravity. In the first 72 hours, you'll hear thoughts masquerading as truth. She'll forget me. She's already with someone else. If I don't act now, it's over. All of it is withdrawal. Your brain detoxing from the expected micro-rewards of contact. Let those thoughts pass through like weather. If you act on them, you teach your nervous system that panic is the driver. Not anymore. This is where men break and then swear zero contact doesn't work. It's not that it doesn't work, it's that they never let it work. If this is hitting something inside you, drop your thoughts below. I read every single one. Days 4 to 14 are the pattern rewrite period. She notices the silence. Depending on her attachment style and her actual feelings, one of 3 things happens. 1, she pings. A light message, a nostalgic meme, a "Hey stranger," a question only you can answer. 2, she posts for you. The story that looks engineered for your jealousy. The outfit, the friend, the laugh. 3, she stays quiet but watches everything you do, letting curiosity ferment. Your move? If you've chosen pure zero contact, you don't respond to pings that hold no investment. How are you is not investment. Do you remember the name of the place where is not investment? I had a dream about you is not investment. It's bait. Responding to low investment pings teaches her that your attention can be bought with pennies. You are not a coin machine. If the situation requires limited contact, keep your replies short, neutral, and logistical. No emojis, no questions, no hooks. You are a lighthouse, not a disco ball. Here's the paradox. You can't fake the emotional shift zero contact requires. If you use silence while secretly watching her every move, the energy leaks. If you post for her attention, the energy leaks. If you stage jealousy, the energy leaks. She may not read the theory, but she reads the vibe in milliseconds. That means your work is offline, recalibrating your purpose, spending time with men you respect, engaging your ambition with urgency, and letting your social world breathe again. And yes, let pre-selection reappear, organically. Photos of you enjoying your life, surrounded by people, moving toward goals, touching daylight and real experiences. Subtle is powerful because it's honest. You're not punishing anyone, you're living. Ask yourself a question most men avoid. What exactly am I trying to learn with this silence? If the answer is whether she wants me, you're missing depth. The better question is she capable of meeting the standard that protects my peace and sharpens our polarity? Is she drawn to my presence or dependent on my pursuit? When I stop feeding the dynamic, does hers generate warmth or only appetite when she senses distance? In other words, am I attracted to her or to the role I play saving what would fall without my effort? Your clarity attracts a different kind of woman and filters the rest without a fight. Let's talk triggers. Zero contact increases scarcity and engages loss aversion, our tendency to value what might slip away more than what we already have. It reignites curiosity by breaking the script. Humans crave narrative closure. It reduces her dopamine habituation to your constant validation. The steady supply loses its punch, the pause resensitizes. And it releases your brain from the reward loop of chasing anxiety with reassurance. That's why you'll feel withdrawal. Your brain is used to micro hits from checking, texting, and anticipating. Break the loop and the first days suck. Then power returns. Calm spreads, sleep deepens, appetite normalizes, and your eyes see her behavior without the fog of need. That's the part nobody tells you. Zero contact is more valuable for who you become than for what she does. Now, will she test? Absolutely. She might text at midnight with something provocative to pull you back into uncertainty. She might drop a breadcrumb. I miss the way we laughed, without adding any actual plan to see you. She might ask mutual friends how you are, hoping the message travels. Or she might do nothing for weeks and then suddenly appear when your life is moving again. Your rule doesn't change. Effort must be matched, interest must be demonstrated with action, and conversations without a meeting on the calendar are just digital sugar. The moment she makes a clear move, suggests a time, asks directly to reconnect, acknowledges the rupture, you have a choice. You can keep building and let her wait, or you can re-engage on your terms. Notice what I didn't say. You do not flood her with the backlog of everything you felt. You do not ask, why did you disappear? You do not perform emotional autopsies over text. You get to the point. If you choose to re-engage after a period of clean no contact, your first communication is lean, warm, and decisive. You might say less than you think. You might say something like this: "Good to hear from you. I'm free Thursday after 7 at place. If that works, join me. If not, no pressure." Short, forward, no, we need to talk. No replay of the past on the screen. You're not auditioning, you're offering a window. If she accepts, you meet. If she counters with a specific alternative, good, she's investing. If she dodges, rotates the topic, or requests more chat without committing, you've got your data. She wants the attention, not the connection. Your silence returns. That's not a game. That's a filter. At the meeting, your presence does the heavy lifting. Not your mouth, not a speech, presence. Clean clothing that fits, relaxed posture, eye contact that rests rather than bores holes. You let the first 15 minutes be light and grounded. Laughter, a couple of shared references, a sense that you're not carrying any bitterness in your chest. Then, if the reconnection is mutual, you draw a boundary with a soft edge. I enjoy this. I also don't repeat old patterns. If we're doing this, we do it with clarity. I lead, you show up. We both respect time and energy. If not, it's been good to see you. No lectures, no threats. Just a man speaking his standard and letting reality decide. Watch her reaction. If her eyes soften and her shoulders drop, you've created safety and polarity. If she argues about the past for an hour, you've created a courtroom you don't belong in. Walk out of court. You're not on trial. What if she never reaches out? Then zero contact worked beautifully. It revealed the truth quickly. You don't want a woman who only wants you when you chase. You don't want a woman who can't carry a spark when you stop blowing air on it. You don't want a woman whose interest is glued only to your validation pipeline. That's not love, that's dependence. Sometimes silence saves you years. Men think the goal is always reconnection. That's one possible outcome. The other is liberation. Your attention returns to where it's respected. If you know a brother who needs to hear this, send it to him today. Don't keep it to yourself. Now, a warning about the common mistakes that kill the effect. First, the performance post. Loud flexing on social media because you want her to see what she lost. That screams insecurity. Calm men look like they have somewhere to be, not someone to prove wrong. Second, the friendly check-in, just seeing how you're doing. That's a bandage for your anxiety, not a bridge to genuine reconnection. Third, jealousy games, staged photos, staged dates, staged attention. Even if they work, they rot the foundation with manipulation. Fourth, confiding in mutual friends so the message, accidentally, returns to her. Those friends are not your PR team. They will deliver your weakness with a bow. Fifth, breaking zero contact every time you're lonely at night and then pretending it didn't happen. That trains your nervous system to associate pain with relapse instead of resilience. You're building a different association now. Discomfort with discipline, discipline with dignity, dignity with desire. Let's talk about attachment dynamics, because they'll shape what you see. If she's anxious, zero contact often pulls a quick reaction. Pings, bids for reassurance, sometimes even anger. If she's avoidant, zero contact can initially feel like relief. She needed space, and you finally gave it. But avoidant isn't the same as uninterested. After relief calms, curiosity rises. If attraction is real. If she's secure, she'll respect your boundary, reflect, and reach out with clarity when she wants to reconnect. Your job is not to diagnose her. Your job is to read the behavior in front of you without fantasy. Is there consistent effort? Are plans easy to make? Do words match actions? Do you feel calm in your body around her? Are you leading a rhythm that she actually follows without resistance? If yes, continue. If no, stop writing novels in your head. Reality is already telling you the story. For long-term relationships where conflict got hot and patterns hardened, zero contact must be paired with a communication reset. That means no rehash over text, a defined window for a live talk, and an agreement about how decisions get made. Your standard could sound like this. We don't fix serious things through paragraphs. We sit down, we listen, we decide, or we respectfully separate. Inside that, your silence has weight. Outside that, your silence looks like punishment. Consent matters here, emotional consent. You're not stonewalling, you're stepping out of unproductive loops until both people are ready to be adults in the same room. Pre-selection is worth exploring carefully. Women are not a monolith, but social proof affects human brains. When others respond to you, her valuation shifts, subconsciously at first. But there's a difference between authentic pre-selection and manufactured thirst. Authentic. You're seen in motion with a valuable life, respected by people whose respect is not bought, sharing space with women without broadcasting conquest. Manufactured. You pose, you posture, you try to trigger jealousy on purpose. One deepens your frame, the other outs you as reactive. You want the first because it requires you to become the man who naturally draws that world. Zero contact gives you the time and focus to do exactly that. How long should zero contact last? There isn't one sacred number. 30 days is common because it allows for nervous system reset and a full cycle of emotional weather. But use conditions, not calendars. You end zero contact when three things are true. Your baseline calm is restored, your life is moving independently of her response, and she demonstrates tangible desire to reconnect, or you proactively decide to close the loop and test reality. If one of those three is missing, extend. Men who rush back do it because stillness feels like death. Train that feeling into strength. There's power in the pause, power you can feel in your spine. If your message carries the same energy as your posture, keep it simple, time-bound, and assumptive of your own value. Good to hear from you. I'm free Thursday after 7 at Bar Roma. Join if you want. That's a door, not a plea. If she says yes, you confirm once and stop texting. If she counters with a concrete alternative, that's interest. Choose confirm and stop texting. If she sends a paragraph of nostalgia with no plan, you don't get pulled into a novella. You reply 24 hours later with one sentence and a window, or you let it go entirely. You never sell what's already for sale, and you never chase what's telling you not now in 100 pretty ways. As you move, you'll notice a new clarity forming. You stop reading tea leaves and start reading calendars. Did a plan appear? Did it stick? Did the vibe match the words in person? That's truth. The rest is theater. This is where men reclaim their edge, not with lines, but with standards. The standard is simple. Interest must translate into initiative. Respect must show up in logistics. Desire must manifest in effort you can measure. If she's interested but chaotic, you offer structure. If she's uncertain, you offer calm. If she's resistant, you offer space and keep walking. Your life is a train with a schedule, not a skateboard doing tricks for whoever watches. If she returns fully, eager, consistent, invested, don't reward with overexposure. Keep your rhythm. One date does not erase the value of the pause, it validates it. Pace the reconnection. 2 or 3 meetings where the energy builds, attraction breathes, and the past stays in the rear view unless she brings it with ownership. If she does, receive it like a man. Briefly, cleanly. I hear you. Here's what I need going forward. Clarity in plans, mutual effort, and curiosity toward each other's world. If we can't do that, let's not pretend. Then redirect into present moment polarity, humor, play, challenge, eye contact that invites rather than interrogates. Relief opens the door, desire invites you in. Let's arm you with a few lines that carry weight because they carry boundaries. When she tests with the casual late-night text, let's catch up soon. You. Cool. Shoot me your Thursday or Saturday and we'll pick one. When she circles with small talk and no direction, happy to hear from you. Set a time to meet and we'll talk properly. when she apologizes for disappearing but adds no decision. Thanks for saying that. If you want to reconnect, choose a day and we'll make it real. When she wants your attention without your presence. I don't do endless texting. Meet or let's pick this up another time. None of these are rude, they're clean. Clean is rare. Clean is irresistible to a woman who's ready. If you're tempted to break your own rules because you feel something strong, remember this. Feeling is a compass, not a contract. Desire does not obligate you to abandon self-respect. Chemistry does not obligate you to ignore chaos. Your body will sometimes crave the familiar, even when the familiar hurts. That's not love calling, that's conditioning. Zero contact breaks that conditioning. It starves the habit so that love, if it's there, can breathe without the fog of compulsion. You become the man who can tell the difference between the heat that heals and the heat that burns the house down. There's another layer few talk about. The masculine nervous system craves challenge, and in the absence of a worthy pursuit, it manufactures crisis in relationships. Many men need the chase because they have no other hunt. When you anchor your attention in a real mission, something that demands discipline, courage, and delayed gratification, your standards with women stabilize. You stop using romance as a dopamine slot machine. You start choosing from fullness. Your presence thickens, your silence deepens, and paradoxically, your attractiveness spikes because women relax around a man who doesn't need them to fill a hole that only purpose can fill. If what you're hearing is shifting your frame, stay with me. This is the pivot most men miss. Sometimes you won't know whether you're operating from strength or from spite until she actually reappears. Spite is reactive, tight jaw, fast fingers, a need to show her you're good now. Strength is quiet, steady pulse, slow response, and awareness that life was already good, and this is a bonus to be evaluated. Check your body. If you need her reply to feel okay, you're not ready to re-engage. Extend the silence and keep building. If you're okay either way, you're ready. Freedom is attractive because it can't be bought with flattery or threatened with withdrawal. It chooses. Here's what to watch during the first 2 reconnection dates. Green lights. She initiates logistics. She arrives on time with good energy. She asks real questions. She laughs easily. She brings curiosity instead of courtroom energy. She follows your lead without friction. And she signals desire with openness rather than tests. Yellow lights. She's warm in person, but disappears between dates. She avoids any mention of how things derailed. She accepts plans, but frequently pushes them out. She flirts heavily by text with no follow-through. Red lights. She triangulates with jealousy games. She keeps the ex on stage. She weaponizes withdrawal whenever she doesn't get instant reassurance. She wants status without intimacy, access without accountability. Green, you invest. Yellow, you pace and require proof. Red, you remove yourself. No speech needed. The man with options does not explain his standards. He lives them. If you never hear from her and you feel the itch to just send one last thing, understand why that itch lives. It lives because your story is incomplete, and you want to author the ending. You want closure. But closure is not a message. Closure is a decision. You withhold your attention from a loop that fails your future. You give yourself the dignity of a new plot. The discipline to do that once is difficult. The discipline to do it twice is transformative. You'll feel it. Your shoulders sit differently. Your eyes meet the world without that micro flinch of need. You start to enjoy the quiet in your own chest. Use physical anchors to reinforce this new identity. Lift in a way that demands breath control, because breath is presence. Sprint in short bursts to remind your nervous system how to channel adrenaline without panic. Learn a skill that can bloody your ego, boxing footwork, jiu-jitsu, public speaking. So you rewire your relationship with discomfort. Sleep like it's your wealth. Eat like a man with plans tomorrow morning. Keep your space neat, your clothes intentional, your calendar guarded. These are not aesthetics. They're messages to your own brain. I'm in charge. Women feel it before they can articulate it. Everyone does. Now let's bulletproof the edges with a few ground rules most men need tattooed on the inside of their skull. You don't text after midnight unless it's logistics for tomorrow and you already behave like adults. You don't argue history over text. No one wins, attraction loses. You don't answer wide from someone who treats you like background noise. You don't chase after 2 canceled plans. 2 and out. You don't send paragraphs. Your life is not lived in bubbles. You don't negotiate respect. You reward effort with presence. You withdraw politely when effort disappears. You assume interest equals initiative. Everything else is noise. And you always return your attention to the mission that makes you a better man with or without her. If you're dealing with a long history and real wounds, silence is not a substitute for repair. It's preparation for it. True repair requires two adults in the same room taking ownership and redesigning the container. That means boundaries you can point to, rituals that keep polarity alive, and agreements about conflict. You're not trying to avoid all heat. You're giving heat a structure so it cooks the food rather than burns the house. If she can meet you there, pay attention. That's rare and worth your leadership. If she can't, your silence saved you. There's a final piece to this that separates boys playing strategy from men living standard: gratitude without attachment. When she returns, and sometimes she will with a softness you've never seen, you meet her with gratitude for the lesson the distance delivered. Not sarcasm, not smugness, real gratitude. I'm glad we took space. I like what it did to me. I like what it did to this. That's not a line. That's a reflection. It tells her she's stepping into something better than what you had, not the same old treadmill. It also tells you that the pause wasn't a trick. It was growth. Anything built on that has legs. If she doesn't return or returns and you decide to decline, you still choose gratitude. You learn to hold your own center. You learned that your value is not up for negotiation. You learned that love cannot be forced and respect cannot be begged. You learned the difference between longing and losing yourself. And you learned that silence, when wielded with clean intent, is not a wall. It's a door that opens inward, to the room where your power has been waiting. So do the zero-contact rules really work? They work when you work. They work when you stop treating them like a stunt and start using them as a standard. They work when you are willing to let the truth be the truth, even if it stings. They work when you replace the reflex to chase with the courage to choose. They work when your life has gravity and you let that gravity do what gravity does. Pull the right things in. Let the wrong things drift away without drama. And they work best when you understand the point is not to be wanted. The point is to be worthy of wanting, starting with yourself. If what you've heard today has tightened your spine and calmed your chest, take it with you right now. Decide your standard. Choose your silence. Design your days so well that your phone has to fight for your attention. And when she appears, some do, some don't, you meet her as a man who has already chosen his path and is inviting her to walk beside him, not to carry him or be carried by him. That, more than any trick, is what turns attraction into respect, and respect into something you can actually build on. If this hit a nerve, tell me what part changed how you see yourself. I read every message because iron sharpens iron. If a brother in your circle is about to throw his dignity away by texting paragraphs to a woman who's giving him crumbs, send this to him today and pull him back to center. And if you want more hard, useful truths about attraction, presence, and masculine self-respect, you know where to find me. Stay close, because we're just getting started.